You're listening to the Arrow Fans UK episode review podcast. During this podcast, we're going to be talking about episode 22, Streets of Fire, as well as discussing who the one more person who has to die is. You can get in touch with us via Facebook, Twitter, or email to give your thoughts. But for now, sit back and enjoy the podcast. Hello and welcome back to the Arrow Fans UK episode review podcast. I'm your host Bradley and joined as usual by Corey. Hey Corey, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, and you?
I'm good, thanks. So we are going to be talking about Streets of Fire. Corey, what were your initial thoughts on the episode?
It kind of almost felt like it was just setting the scene for the finale more than pushing ahead with its kind of own story. It wasn't really kind of what I was hoping for, I guess. We got the promo and all that, and I kind of was expecting a pretty action-packed episode, but it's not really what we got. I mean, that's not to say didn't have its moments, but on the whole, it could have been better, but it was still decent, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was an okay episode. There was nothing really wrong with it as such. But it wasn't really what I was expecting. I mean, compared to last year with Darkness on the Edge of Town, that I really liked.
Yeah.
And then this was a little bit, I don't know. Malcolm was underused, which, considering John Barrowman's brilliance, seems kind of pointless.
Yeah, I mean, you could have at least had him get out of the train station and do a little more there. That, you know, he was excellent in season 1. And if you're going to bring him back, use him.
Yeah, exactly. It just seems kind of pointless to bring him back and go, oh look, I'm back, saving Thea again, and then potentially getting killed by Thea.
Yeah, you just kind of asked what was the point of that.
Yeah, just especially if he was dead.
Yeah.
that would really just be ridiculous. But I mean, I almost think that they focused too much on the fact that they were completely destroying the city. And I almost think that didn't really work in the way that it should.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean with that. And I think also the whole point of Slade's plan has been very personal to Oliver. And I mean, I know he gave his reasons for why he's doing what he's doing to the city, but it kind of just took away from that, I guess. And I guess what I'd say is it didn't really feel in this episode if you're heading towards the Oliver Slade confrontation, which is obviously going to come next week.
Yeah, it felt more like Slade and Isabel were just, I don't know, just destroying the city without a care in the world for anyone remotely close to Oliver, which kind of goes completely against his motives.
Yeah. I mean, I know you're saying he loves the city and all that, but I don't know, it just didn't really work. I think I'd kind of liked what they've done with the whole promise this year, and kind of they had moved it away from the threat we had with Malcolm last season, but it kind of just, it's sort of treading on ground really, the city getting destroyed and all that, and, you know, wanting to just destroy it completely. So yeah, but I mean, hopefully we'll get back to the whole element of the promise and everything next week.
Yeah, I saw a comment somewhere, I can't remember where, that just asked, if you're a resident of Starling City, by this point, why would you still be there?
Yeah, if I'm living in Starling City now, I'm on the internet looking at all kinds of estate agents and stuff like that, wanting to move away.
No, I think I'm just packing a bag and leaving and then worrying about it.
Yeah, just go be homeless somewhere. It's got to be better than that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think you put it well earlier that it's a setup episode. I mean, setup episodes are alright, but they're never really the best ones.
No, they kind of almost, well, I guess they're kind of just filling in the gaps for what's to come. I think perhaps the reason it didn't work as well is kind of last week, in a sense, felt a bit like a setup as well. So it's almost we've had two setups back to back, and if we're rewarded with an excellent finale, I'm sure we won't mind though.
Yeah, I mean, it was like last week could have been a kind of, this is the finale cliffhanger. Oh, the pre-finale cliffhanger, I should say.
Yeah.
And then we kind of get another episode that just feels like it's repeating in the way of just setting things up.
Yeah, because I felt City of Blood, the end to that was pretty good. The different cliffhangers we had, because we kind of had like a load of them pop out at once, but they were all resolved pretty quickly at the start of this episode. And I guess, obviously the Mercury Army got out, but there wasn't a hell of a lot of cost for the cliffhangers we saw, and it just didn't deliver what it could have done, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the cliffhangers that set up this week weren't quite as good.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I was just thinking about that now, actually. I think perhaps if you'd left it with Amanda saying to Oliver, you've got until dawn, until Stolen City becomes a crater, that is the final one, with perhaps the Malcolm one before, it might have packed a bit of a better punch, but definitely they didn't really give the same edgy seatness, I guess, as last week's.
No, definitely not. And I'm going to say it now. Arrow trying to take on a 24 style approach did not work. No.
This show's really works when it's pretty fast paced, and you can kind of feel the tempo. The usual tempo isn't there, and then it's just definitely noticeable. And well, like you say, I'm sure it's all going to pay off in the finale, though.
Yep, definitely. Okay then. Okay, so we'll move on and talk about a topic that's obviously going to come up in the finale, and that is who is the last person that Slade is going to kill, or that Slade needs to kill for it to end. Now, we've said it in, I think it was the Seeing Red podcast, that we think it's quite obviously going to be Sarah, because, well, Sarah's alive and Shadow isn't.
Yeah.
But obviously she isn't the only possibility, so we're going to explore who the possibilities are and whether or not, well, that they'll be the ones that do die. Or are targeted. So obviously, as I said, Sarah's the kind of main target, you'd think, wouldn't you?
Yeah, because, like you say, that was where the choice came from, and you'd assume that Slade harbours a fair bit of resentment towards her, and if the shadow hallucination's kind of saying to kill anyone, then you kind of assume Sarah must be pretty high up the list there.
Yeah, obviously, Slade probably isn't a big fan of her.
No.
Obviously, Felicity as well.
Yep. That could be an interesting one, actually. I guess Isabel obviously could be informing Slade a bit more of that one. I'm kind of thinking to that little discussion they had in episode 6, I think when they first got to Russia, and she was saying something about everybody thinks you're sleeping with her or something. I can't quite remember, but kind of with the finale coming up and Isabel on Slade's side, that kind of makes me wonder a little more if she could be the one to get targeted.
Yeah, and it sort of helped because obviously Isabel didn't seem too fond of Felicity in this episode.
No, and she could be trying to talk Slade into getting rid of her.
I can't remember, was it before or after she hit Isabel with a van that Isabel wasn't very happy about Felicity?
Just before, she was saying something about, I can't wait to put a bullet in her smug little face since the day or whatever, and then bang.
Yes. I don't think that she is going to be even more fond of her now.
No, that's probably what running someone over will do for your relationship with that person.
Yeah, I mean, not like she liked her anyway, but... No. I think that speech that they had up in the clock tower kind of helps. The idea that Felicity would be the one that Slade gets, because obviously that is sort of foreshadowing, Oliver trying to figure out, well, trying to stop Slade, basically.
Yeah, I think also it shows her belief in him, which kind of sort of talks to their relationship a bit, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the shipping fans will obviously be quite happy that that speech happened.
Yeah.
Not so much if Felicity gets kidnapped next week.
No, I suppose that one could make more sense, because I saw the theory a bit back that Ivo could have been Felicity's father. So, if that does pan out to be true, that could add to it, because you imagine Slade isn't best pleased with anything to do with Ivo either.
No, definitely not. I think looking at it more, Felicity is possibly the most logical one.
Yeah.
Actually. One interesting one that I did sort of pick up here in this episode was that actually it's not a person, and it could just be Starling City.
That could be an interesting one, actually.
I mean, obviously, Oliver's devoted the last 2 years of his life to trying to save the city.
Yeah, I suppose that would be another kind of smack in the face for him. Everything is done for nothing when Slade destroys it.
Yeah. I mean, it's unlikely, because he's pretty much destroyed it all already.
Well, yep, true.
Yeah. And the other one, which we're obviously we'd be very happy about if it is this person, is Laurel.
Yeah, again, Slade obviously knows about her from way back on the island anyway. Was it the Odyssey that Slade saw the picture of Laurel?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a fun conversation.
Yep. So yeah, he knows about her. I mean, sort of, I think Sarah and Felicity seem more likely for the connection they've got to Oliver right now. Sarah, particularly because of her past, and we've been through Felicity too. But I think all three of them are a fair bet, really.
Yeah. I really hope it's not Laurel, because, that would just... Actually, yeah, I do sort of hope it's Laurel, but I don't hope it's Laurel, in terms of the fact that it would be a focus on her. But I could sort of put up with it in the fact that then we get rid of her.
Yeah, fair point. And I was just looking through Mark Guggenheim's Twitter feed, and he teased some finale dialogue, which was "I love you." So I'd guess we might be finding out. Well, that probably might entail some of the conversation when Slade has whoever he has.
Maybe it's Slade saying it to Oliver.
Yeah, that's what this has all been about. It's just Slade has a warped view on romance.
No. Oliver puts the cure into Slade, and then suddenly Slade says that, and suddenly we've now got a romance show about Slade and Oliver.
Yeah, Starling City is burning, and they just walk off hand in hand into the sunset.
Taking after Sarah and Nissa.
Yeah.
That would be quite funny. But I'm kind of with you on that it might probably be to one of the 3 people that Slade is going to target.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be Thea, because he's already had her once and let her go, and then let her go a second time when he could have just killed her along with Moira and be done with it.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, Slade isn't exactly the type of person to prolong something.
No, he would have got it over with, definitely.
Yeah, there's no point letting her go twice just to capture her again and kill her. And it would be appalling writing as well.
Yes. And bit of an insult to Slade, because like you say, that's not the way he works, really.
Yeah, if you're going to kill her back in episode 18. But we've gone past episode 18, so just don't kill her. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, who do we reckon, like, overall, is it going to be?
Well, I think I'm leaning towards Felicity, basically because there's a comment anyway about her playing a major part in the finale for reasons we've discussed. I reckon she's going to be the one, pretty much. Because I can see Sarah kind of sticking out a bit with Nyssa being back in town and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, from the stuff we've seen, I think that it's going to actually be Sarah and Oliver and Team Arrow and Nyssa and League of Assassins and probably Malcolm, because there's no way he's dead,
No.
Versus the Mirakuru army. So, don't think Sarah's going to stay out of it for long, but...
True. Yeah, I reckon my money's on Felicity, but I'm kind of torn between Felicity and Sarah, really. Kind of, they both make sense, I guess.
Well, if you've seen the promo images for the episode, then, well,
yes.
we but then again, they could just be teasing us and throwing us a curveball, and actually that it's not Felicity.
I guess that's the thing with images. Context is everything, and we don't know the context just yet.
No. But I think it's definitely between Felicity and Sarah. I don't think it'll be Laurel.
No.
Because, you know, the writers went out of their way to put in a scene with her and a bow and arrow in this episode, so there is almost no doubt that she's going to become some sort of hero.
Yeah, I think also just Oliver's ties towards Felicity and Sarah in these final few episodes have kind of been greater than Laurel, I guess. I mean, I know she found out, but they kind of had, I guess, Man Under the Hood. No, not Man Under the Hood. Crap memory. City of Blood. That kind of came out, but then they kind of split up again this episode, so they kind of really haven't spent enough time on that, I think, for it to lead towards her being the one in the finale, I guess.
No, and it was... yeah, I mean... I suppose it could be a good way of hurting Sarah as well.
Yeah.
If they were to get rid of Laurel.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
But it's probably not going to be, despite our hopes.
No, I'd be surprised.
Yes. Okay then. So we'll move on and talk about some odds and ends from the episode. We have to mention Felicity hitting Isabel with her car, or the van.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
It was even better when she just goes, "What do you think? Hit her again?"
Yeah.
I think what they should have done was they just should have kept running her over.
Yeah, until she's just a pile of mush.
Yeah, Mirakuru enhanced that would probably taken a while, but it would have been worth it.
Yeah, you just go around the episode with the other storylines, and then you come back to Diggle and Felicity just reversing again for another hit.
yeah, and then it goes back to Oliver. A few minutes later, we're going to hit her again. Now that would be fun.
In a strange sense, I think that would have actually worked.
Yes. The island scenes were kind of predictable.
Yeah, but I'm very pleased we have Anatoly in the flashbacks, because he definitely adds to him.
Yeah, and at least we know that he's going to be in it until, well, next season basically, because how is Oliver going to learn Russian otherwise?
Yep, that's true.
And if he tries to learn Russian elsewhere, then he can just not.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Yeah. Obviously, Sarah on the freighter and has been rescued, and next week's going to be the Arrow in the Eye, I would assume.
Yep, I'd be very surprised if we don't get that. Yeah, so but it'll be cool to see how that confrontation plays out, for sure.
What else did we have in this episode? We had Roy getting injected with the cure, I suppose.
Yep, and well, I'd assume that'll work, judging by the fact he's up and about in the promo for next week.
Yeah. I mean, well, if it doesn't work, then maybe he's a zombie.
Well, yeah, there's that too.
Yeah, I think we said before we don't want a Walking Dead crossover.
No, I don't think that'd work.
No.
Oh, we had Sebastian dying as well.
Oh yes. It's interesting because what was it Oliver said the week before? That he won't deliver on his promise.
Yeah.
Well, he did. But he just went over the top with it.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Which did you really not expect?
I kind of thought it was pretty obvious last week after Oliver said what he did that it wouldn't quite work out with Blood and Slade.
Yeah, I mean, that was never going to happen though, was it?
No.
I think from the second that we saw that Slade and Blood were working together that we just thought Blood's doomed.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's interesting that he sort of died thinking that he was going to actually end up saving the city properly.
Yeah, I guess that's always kind of been his motivation, really. I mean, I'm not entirely sure how he kind of thought kind of destroying half the city was actually going to help save it, but like he's kind of true to himself to the end. He kind of tried to stop what was happening. It kind of a bit like Moira's death, I guess. She went out doing what she said she was doing all along, protecting her children, and Blood kind of went out as well, doing what he's always set out to do, which is save the city.
Yeah, and he failed very badly. I mean, I suppose he got them the Mirakuru cure, but...
Yeah, and on the whole, he hasn't really helped matters.
Yeah. To be fair, I think the reason that he's decided that destroying the city with the Mirakuru soldiers would work in saving the city was taking some pages out of the Malcolm Merlin playbook.
Yeah, true.
I mean, we had that logic last year. Oh, I know, I'm going to destroy half the city in order to save it.
Yeah, which is a little weird, killing half the people. I don't know, villain logic. What are you going to do?
You know what, I think I'm going to blame Malcolm for what's going on right now.
Yeah, he's made it seem trendy, destroying half the city.
Because Malcolm destroyed half the city, which meant Sebastian Blood came in and started protesting for all this rubbish, which meant that he came in at odds with Oliver, which means that he got persuaded to go for mayor by Oliver, which means he got mayor from Oliver, and therefore, oh look, here we are, and his soldiers are destroying the city.
Didn't think of it like that. That's very true, actually.
Yeah. So when you come down to it, it's all Malcolm's fault.
Yep, blame Malcolm.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what else we had in this episode that we could talk about here.
I guess we had the Argus stuff, which kind of just adds a bit more fuel to
Yeah.
the fire.
Yeah, that really, I think they I can't think of the word. They didn't make the most of that, really.
No, I kind of know what you mean. It was sort of just a bit thrown in at the end, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they could have ended with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Sarah was back.
Yeah, kind of. Her sort of still not really sure if she's. Well, she kind of doesn't really think much of herself, I guess, and.
Yeah, I mean, Oliver's whole no killing, trying to be a hero thing that apparently is going to pay off in the finale is actually reasonably interesting. Sarah's is blatantly not.
Yeah. And, I don't know, they packed in the cliches for there a bit, didn't they? On trying to make her see she is a hero.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was was it Birds of Prey? I think she said something about, with that whole conversation with Laurel. I can't remember what it was she was saying, but I think she came out of the idea that she wasn't a killer. And then, seeing Red, I wanted to kill him, Roy, because that's who I am. And then suddenly now she's like, possibly contemplating the fact that she is a hero, and Laurel's convincing her so. And it's just not interesting.
This has been a bit of a messy storyline. Also, one point with that, do you think, because assuming she went to the League to try and get help, do you think they have initially said no to her? Or are they just late?
Possibly.
I was trying to work that one out when I was watching it, really.
I mean, to be fair, it did take them 5 months to figure out that Sarah was back in Starling City.
Well,
because she went back after the earthquake machine went off, and it took them till episode 5 to find her. So.
That is true, actually, yeah.
You know, they are a bit slow. Maybe if, did Moira tell Moira did tell them that Malcolm was alive. Maybe if she was to tell the League of Assassins that Malcolm was back in Starling City, they might be a bit quicker.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. Everything to just kill Malcolm because he ruined it. Yeah.
We also had Lance get his detective rank back.
Yay, finally.
Yeah.
It's only taken him a season.
Yeah, got there in the end.
Yeah, eventually, you know. And to be fair, he got there by doing something illegal.
That speaks wonders of the police force.
Yes. Yeah, it's not great, is it?
No, not really.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's about it, really. I suppose, Slade is talking to Shadow, and he doesn't, what's her name? Isabel doesn't know about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. So we're going to look ahead to next week. We have some sad news. It is the season 2 finale next week, which does of course mean that once it is over, we have 5 months without an episode.
Yep, so prepare for some serious withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah, and if it's anything like last season's finale, well, you know.
It'll be a very long 5 months.
Yeah, it's going to be a very long 5 months, I can tell already. So we'll read the press release for the episode. It's called Unthinkable. Oliver must decide once and for all if he's a killer or a hero. Slade moves forward with his plan to kill one more person in Oliver's life. Well, Oliver has fought all year to be more than the killer he once was. When Slade kidnaps someone close to Oliver's heart, Oliver is pushed to the edge and realizes sometimes it takes doing the unthinkable to stop the monster. Meanwhile, Diggle takes on Amanda Waller with a little help from some friends, and Thea turns to Roy in her time of need. It does look good.
It does, and especially when you look at the promo and the promo images too, it just adds to it. And yeah, I think we're in for something good.
Yeah, I'm kind of expecting someone to die, because, you know, nowadays people die in finales and it's, well, shocking.
Yeah.
I'm kind of expecting the arrow in the eye.
Yep, same here.
What else? Nissa's going to be back. Not really sure what else.
Yeah, sort of things I expect and things I hope for, like a Malcolm Team Arrow team up would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that is something I definitely want to see.
Not sure. Well, I think we've seen there's a set report that's been taken.
Oh yeah.
With Roy wearing a mask and then having a bow and arrow.
Yep, which...
And it's red as well. It's not just stealing Oliver's when he's been crushed in debris and lost his bow and his quiver just perfectly so that Laurel gets to shoot an arrow.
I'm a little worried with Roy with a bow and arrow though, because the last time we saw him, he was pretty crap at it, so... Yeah, I wonder if he's going to have better luck this time and magically learn... Well, I suppose he magically learned how to catch arrows on Mirakuru the other day, so...
Yeah, but he's not on the Mirakuru anymore, is he?
No.
Well, we don't think he is.
No, I don't know. Maybe he's just... I don't know.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll have another few minutes of him slapping water in a bowl.
Yeah, and that's the key. Who needs super strength when he can slap water?
Well, he did it, but he's lost his super strength now, so now he has to build it back up.
Yep, true.
That's an interesting one, actually, because thinking about it, I wonder if curing Roy actually removes all of the super strength, and I'd like to see how it affects them, because for all we know, it could just remove the super strength and not the mental issues, or remove the mental issues and not the super strength.
That's true, actually. That is a good point. That is a good point, actually. It's definitely been interesting to see that, because we haven't really had the explanation of how it works yet.
No, and I mean, obviously Ivo's dead, so we can't really have an explanation now.
No.
Yeah. Do we think that Oliver's going to kill Slade at the end?
I'd be surprised if he did, because basically the whole season's been about not killing anymore, being a hero, and to sort of then kill in the finale, go back on that. And the whole thing about on the island, he had the chance to cure him, decided to kill him. It'll be a case of he has the chance to kill him, so he cures him instead, I reckon.
Yeah.
I think, obviously, Slade Wilson Deathstroke in the comics is quite a big influence, and just sort of to kill him off in season 2 seems a bit soon as well. I'm sort of going on that. And it'd be cool to see him come back a few times anyway.
Yeah. So we think he'll cure him then?
Yeah, that's what my money's on.
Yeah. Okay then.
He'll probably get locked up at Argus or somewhere after that.
Yeah, that is if he survives the crater.
Yes, true.
Yes. Okay then. Well, all we know for sure that it's going to be a fantastic episode. And if it's not, then, well, we'll just spend the next 5 months complaining.
Yeah, we'll have a weekly podcast of just ranting about how outraged we still are.
Yeah, I'm sure we could do that, actually.
Yeah, we're quite good at the ranting side of things.
Yeah, if you include Laurel a lot.
Yes.
Definitely something you could do. Yes. Okay. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed this podcast, and we will see you next week.